The King's Own Calgary Regiment, or KOCR, is an armoured unit of the Canadian Forces Primary Reserve based at the Mewata Armoury in Calgary, Alberta. The KOCR is part of 3rd Canadian Division's 41 Canadian Brigade Group. History: the regiment originated in 1910 with the creation of the 103rd Regiment. The 50th Battalion, CEF, was an infantry battalion of the Canadian Expeditionary Force during the Great War. The 50th Battalion was authorized on the 7th of November 1914 and embarked for Britain on the 27th of October 1915. The battalion disembarked in France on the 11th of August, 1916, where it fought as part of the 10th Canadian Infantry Brigade, 4th Canadian Division in France and Flanders until the end of the war. The battalion was disbanded on the 30th of August 1920. In 1936, the Calgary Regiment was one of 6 infantry regiments designated to become a tank unit, being renamed Calgary Regiment. History: 1939 to 1945. On the 16th of February 1941, the 14th Army Tank Battalion was mobilized at Mewata Barracks. When the Canadian Armoured Corps was created, the Calgary Regiment lost its status as an infantry regiment and transferred to the new corps. A reserve regiment remained in Calgary. The regiment was composed of 400 members of the Reserve Battalion, drawing also from reinforcement personnel from the Seaforth Highlanders of Canada and the Loyal Edmonton Regiment. The original A Squadron was drawn from Olds and District B Squadron from Stettler area, C Squadron from Red Deer, and headquarters from Calgary, High River, and Okotoks District. In March 1941, the regiment moved to Camp Borden, becoming part of the 1st Army Tank Brigade, and in June 1941 sailed for Great Britain. Matilda tanks were initially used on the Salisbury Plains, but these were replaced later in the year by the first manufactured Churchills. The overseas unit trained on various vehicles in Canada and the United Kingdom, and in August 1942 took the Churchill tank into battle for the first time at Jet. The unit was rebuilt after the raid, having left large numbers of tanks and crews behind. A notable casualty was Lieutenant Colonel Johnny Andrews, who was killed in action. In the spring of 1943, Lieutenant Colonel C. H. Neroutsos took command of the regiment. The new unit went to Sicily in 1943 with the 1st Canadian Army Tank Brigade, re-equipped with the Sherman tank. On the 3rd of September 1943, the regiment assaulted the beaches of Reggio Calabria to little resistance and moved northwards with notable engagements in Potenza, Motta and Campobasso while supporting the 1st Canadian Infantry Division. On the 21st of November 1943, the regiment supported the 8th Indian Infantry Division in its assault against fierce German opposition on the Sangro River. In December, the regiment met stubborn opposition fighting for the Moro River and later Vino Ridge and the Ortona Crossroads. On 11-12 May 1944, the regiment assaulted across the Garry River supporting the 19th Indian Brigade of the 8th Indian Division. During this operation and the advance towards the Hitler Line, the regiment sustained casualties numbering 16 officers, 40 other ranks, and 60 tank casualties. An innovative use of a modified Sherman tank to carry a bridge across the Garry River is known as Kings Mill Bridge by its inventor Captain T. Kings Mill's moniker. Kings Mill was to receive the Military Cross for the action. At this point, Lieutenant Colonel Neroutsos fell ill, and the regiment was taken over by Lieutenant Colonel C.A. Richardson. In June 1944, the Calgarys took part in the Battle of Lake Trasimeno in support of the British 4th Division, after which the Calgarys conducted a pursuit up the Kiani Valley until the Lydia Line was reached south of Arizo. By the 3rd of August 1944 the regiment had advanced with the 8th Indian Division to the Arno River through country with remarkably poor tank going. On the 25th of August 1944 the Calgarys made an assault crossing of the Arno River, east of Florence, pushing into the Siv Valley where the Gothic Line was assaulted in the Maradi sector in support of the 1/5th Gurkha Regiment. Another miserably wet Italian winter was spent in the mountains. In late February 1945 the regiment was moved to Leghorn and embarked to Marseille, France, where it moved by rail to the Northwest Europe Theatre. The regiment moved to the Reichswald Forest and on the 12th of April 1945 fought in the Second Battle of Arnhem, supporting the 49th Infantry Division to aid the Netherlands. The regiment's final actions of the Second World War were in support of the 1st Belgium Brigade in clearing the resistance between the Nederrijn and Vaal rivers. When the overseas unit returned to Canada in 1945, it was disbanded, and the Calgary Regiment continued its service as a reserve armoured unit. History 1945 to 1999. The cap badge was changed immediately after the war, as no badges permitted to have any heraldic devices over the monarch's crown. The sunburst, while part of the coat of arms of the city of Calgary on which the badge was based, was found to violate that principle. The addition of the King's Own designation was also made to the cap badge. The unit trained on Sherman tanks until 1968, when the vehicles were finally retired. In the 1980s, the new AVGP Cougar was introduced into service, mounting a 76mm main armament with coaxial C6 general-purpose machine gun. These vehicles were used for training until the 21st century. In addition to an active Cougar squadron, an armored reconnaissance squadron also trained on jeeps and later the ILTIS vehicle, usually mounting a C5 GPMG, or later the C6 GPMG. Regimental lineage. Lineage of the King's Own Calgary Regiment. Battle Honours. In the list below, battle honours in capitals were awarded for participation in large operations and campaigns, while those in lowercase indicate honours granted for more specific battles. The battle honours written in bold are emblazoned on the regimental guidon. First World War, Second World War, Southwest Asia, Afghanistan. Victoria Crosses. Private John George Patterson, VC. Recent activities. The regiment turned in its Cougar AVGP vehicles in 2006, thus suspending its training as an armoured regiment, and now fulfills the role of armoured reconnaissance. The primary vehicle at the unit is the Mercedes G-Wagon, known in the CF as the LUVW. Soldiers also conduct dismounted reconnaissance tasks and domestic operations. Other soldiers conduct recruit training for new members of Calgary-based 41 Canadian Brigade group units, in addition to many soldiers having served on United Nations tours in Bosnia, Croatia, Cyprus, Democratic Republic of Congo, Golan Heights and Darfur. Members of the regiment have recently returned from operational tours in Afghanistan. Soldiers deploying on missions receive training on the full range of CF vehicles, including the Leopard C2, the TLAV, Coyote, the LAV-3, and the Nyala armored patrol vehicle. Besides reconnaissance crewmen and officers, soldiers of the regiment are also trained as mechanics, CIMIC operators, musicians, RMS clerks, and storesmen. Corporal Nathan Hornberg was killed in action in Afghanistan in September 2007 while serving with a regular force battle group near Kandahar. Regimental Association. The Regimental Association is named the 5014th Association. The name reflects the perpetuation of both the 50th Battalion, RCEF, and the 14th Armoured Regiment. Monuments. Soldiers of the 50th Battalion who went missing in action are memorialized on the Menin Gate and the Vimy Memorial, while all Calgary area soldiers of the regiment who have been killed in the First World War, Second World War and Afghanistan will be listed on the Calgary Soldiers Memorial. Alliances. United Kingdom. The Duke of Lancaster's Regiment. Cadets. The King's Own Calgary Regiment affiliated cadet corps is based in Cochrane, Alberta, bearing the title 2512 King's Own Calgary Regiment Cadet Corps. The corps was formed the 26th of April 1954 as King's Own Calgary Regiment. The corps disbanded the 1st of January 1958. The corps was formed again on the 1st of November 1976 as the King's Own Calgary Regiment Cadet Corps, and continues to parade weekly during the training year.